Hello everyone, this is Gary from Fantastic Fundas, and today in this Polity lecture we are going to study further about the fundamental rights. आज हम फंडामेंटल राइट्स आगे पढ़ेंगे, लेकिन मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ अपने पिछले लेक्चर सुन लिए हैं फंडामेंटल राइट्स पे खास तौर पे, तभी आप इसको अच्छे से समझ पाएंगे. आई होप यू हैव लिसन्ड टू द अर्लियर लेक्चर्स ऑन फंडामेंटल राइट्स वेरी वेल, एंड आई होप अपने इस टाइम पर सबको वीडियोस को शेयर भी किया था औरों से सुन के. ओके, सो नाउ लेट्स बिगिन विद द आर्टिकल ऑन फंडामेंटल राइट्स. नाउ दिस इज फ्रॉम आर्टिकल नंबर 15. Please open your bare acts because I will be referring again and again to it. Rather than buying any other book on polity, I would suggest buying a bare act where it is very easy to understand with me. Okay, now article 15 is basically is an extension. It is an extension of article number 14, which is right to equality, right? But we had so much of inequality in our country that we needed specific dedicated provisions for upbringing the backward people in general. Okay, so now all those people, right, or underprivileged or lesser privileged or the lesser sons of the god, so-called god, right, we have these special dedicated provisions from article 15 to article 18. Now, Article 15 says that state shall not discriminate. Now, this state is again and again I'm referring to state. I have already discussed this under Article 12 of the Constitution. So you can go and refer back to that article lecture if you do not understand what is a state. Now, state shall not discriminate with any citizen. As I told you earlier, there are 4 articles, right? 15 and then 16, right? And then 19 over here and 29. These are only for the citizens of India, right? So we are talking about 15. This is only for the citizens of India. How do we know this is for the citizen of India? हमें कैसा पता लगा? क्योंकि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में क्या लिखा है? The state shall not discriminate against any citizen, right? और किसी की against state है जो discriminate नहीं कर सकती. On what basis? On the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, जो आपका जन्म स्थान, और any of them. Okay, now what do you mean by any of them? इसका मतलब यही है, you know, and there's one more word actually before that. Now, state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only. Okay, there's a word only of religion. First, I would like to talk to you about any only word, right? It means that state can suppose discriminate on other grounds, right? That is obvious from this. State और ground पे तो discrimination कर ही सकती है ना भी against किसी और ground पे, तो वो क्या कोई भी X ground है, ठीक है? Now when I say only this का मतलब सिर्फ only on religion or race or caste, not only just on these basis cannot discriminate, or religion plus race it cannot discriminate, right? किसी दो का combination या सारे की सारी, लेकिन some other reason, right, plus let's say on the basis of the race, right, or sex, government can discriminate, right? Some X condition, some other thing, and plus any one of these, that kind of discrimination is allowed, right? This is number 1. Okay, and the general clause है, कोई खास समझने की इतनी सी बात है, इसके अंदर वर्ड ये रट लीजिएगा, religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any one of them, right? And word only is important, right? Right, or now there is the one more thing, right? Any of them, when I said any of them, that actually meant that any of them, this any of them, this basically means that these things, right, religion or race in a combination, or any of them put together, right, or singularly or plurally, सारी एक साथ या अकेले कैसे भी करके. Okay, so that was any of them, right? Now we move to article number 15. It's a very simple article, nothing much. Now, state shall not again discriminate only on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them, right? Now it also says that no citizen, right, no citizen of the country, they can be subject to any disability. Okay, that you cannot do this, that particular disability or liability or restriction or condition, right? Liability or restriction, okay, or condition, right? On such things, state cannot discriminate. Okay, and these things, these disability, liability, restriction, or condition related to what, right? The state no citizen can be discriminated, right, on the basis of religion, race, caste, and all that, and create such a disability related to, in relation to, किस चीज़ से जोड़कर हम ये बात कर रहे हैं, जो disability create की जा रही है किस चीज़ से जोड़ के, किसी भी शॉप के अंदर घुसने से, इसका देखिए ओरिजिन इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट के अंदर है इस चीज़ का जो मैं बातें कर रहा हूँ। यू विल रियलाइज दिस। कैसे वो कहते थे ना ब्रिटिशर्स की ओनली डॉग्स एंड इंडियंस आर नॉट अलाउड, ऐसे लिख के बाहर लगाते थे। ब्रिटिशर्स पुट दिस बोर्ड आउट, डॉग्स एंड इंडियंस नॉट अलाउड, कुत्ते और भारतीय अलाउड नहीं, ऐसा लिखा जाता, उन्होंने लिखा हुआ था। तो शॉप्स, कितना मतलब बुरा था ना उनका बिहेवियर। शॉप्स और कोई पब्लिक रेस्टोरेंट है अगर, वहाँ पर भी आप किसी को ऐसे रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं लगा सकते। ओके, कोई होटल है अगर, और देन सम पब्लिक एंटरटेनमेंट की प्लेस हो अगर, ऑल दीज प्लेसेस स्टेट कैन नॉट, नो सिटीजन एक्चुअली कैन बी डिनाइड, राइट। नो सिटीजन ऑन द बेसिस रिलीजन, रेस। आप ये नहीं कह सकते फॉर एग्जाम्पल कि जी किसी मान लो कोई सिख है, अब उसने पगड़ी पहनी हुई है, राइट, ही इज फॉलोइंग हिज रिलीजन ओनली, नथिंग एल्स, राइट। Now you cannot say, or any a lot of Hindus also wear pagdis, so because of their culture. So all these people, right, irrespective religion, जब मुस्लिम है उसने टोपी पहनी हुई है, कुछ भी, सबका अपना अपना सिस्टम है जो, तो you go to place of entertainment, right, and this was basically created, this differentiation is based on basis of religion. सच काइंड ऑफ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन कैन नॉट बी डन इंडिया। ठीक है ना जी, आपकी दाढ़ी जितनी मर्जी लंबी हो, आप किसी भी धर्म से हो, दाढ़ी सबके, बहुत सारे धर्मों में बहुत सारे लोग रखते हैं, और आपकी यहाँ फिर आप पगड़ी पहनते हो, टोपी पहनते हो, कुछ भी आप पहनते हो, किसी भी बेसिस के ऊपर किसी भी पब्लिक रेस्टोरेंट या होटल या एंटरटेनमेंट या किसी दुकान के अंदर आपकी एंट्री को नहीं रोका जा सकता। आप लड़ पड़ो उस बंदे से, वो बंदा गलत है, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, इसका भी ओरिजिन आप टिपिकली प्री ब्रिटिश सोसाइटी, और अब तो इंडिया में इसकी चीज़ें रोल कम हो गया है, दिस सेकंड पार्ट, एंड दिस रिलेटेड टू कुएं, वेल्स, ठीक है, टैंक जो आपके गांव में होते हैं, पता नहीं, आई डोंट रिमेंबर, पंजाबी में इट्स कॉल्ड टोबा, राइट, एनीवे, right, then you have bathing ghats, all the bathing ghats, जहाँ नहाते हैं जाके घाट, वहाँ पर भी इतना डिस्क्रिमिनेशन होता था कि जो नीची जाति के लोग हैं वो जाके नीचे वाले पानी से नहाएंगे, और ऊपर से वो बैठे क्या करते थे, the people of lower caste would take bath only downstream, and upstream these people were sitting and they would wash clothes and all the dirt would go to those people of lower class. How unjust was that? So it is against such inhumane provisions that we have such provisions in our Indian constitution, right? Or places of public resort or whatever, right, etc. All these things, state can, the state, no citizen can be discriminated on these bases, right? Then comes Article 15 Clause 3. This is very important article. This article says that nothing in this article shall prevent the state की special provision बनाने के लिए, special provisions, right, for women and children in specific, right. All these reservation for women, अगर पार्लियामेंट में भी reservation आती है वो इसी बेसिस पर आएगी कि state cannot be stopped from making special provision for women and children, right. ऐसा क्यों है, right? आप खुद ही सोचिए इसका जवाब। सच मतलब अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, ये आपके अंदर के इमोशन की बात है, समझने की बात है। आई डोंट वांट टू गो इनटू डिटेल ऑफ दिस, इट्स वेरी ऑब्वियस, राइट, यू कैन राइट दिस, ओके। सो for example, right, we have these reservation of seats in trains, buses, all that, and then you have IPC. There are special provisions for women. For example, in the case of dowry death, agar within 7 years of marriage, if there is dowry death, there is a supposition that the dowry was caused by the family of the husband, and the husband, then if there is a case of dowry, right, if it is within 7 years of marriage and there was certain demand, it will be presumed to be a dowry death. But then it is a presumption. Now men will say, why not against us, why is everything against us, that why not something supporting us? Then in that case, you see, this is special provision for women. It is for the protection of women, because condition of women has been poor in India. It is still not good. हालांकि आजकल feminist, some feminist movement these days are going extreme. You see, the feminist movement cannot go extreme. There has to be equality. Please understand this thing. We need to maintain social structure. Society का structure भी तो बना कर रखना है हमें. तो एक बैलेंस रखना पड़ेगा. It's not question of my choice कि मैं जो मर्जी करूं. Right? You live in a society, so it's not question of my choice all the time. Please understand this thing also. Okay. So basically, so these are the things, and other few provisions are there in Article 15. For example, under Article 15, if you have this local bodies, right, and like panchayats, nagar palikas, there is reservation for women, right. All this reservation is originating through this Article 15 Clause 3 only, and even this all this case of Vishakha versus state of Rajasthan. This case was involved sexual harassment of a girl at her office. So in this case, Supreme Court laid down the guidelines, for protection of women at workplace, and Supreme Court when ordered this should be done. This was done basically under Article 14, 15 and Article 23. We'll talk about 23 later on. For now it is Article 14 and 15. Okay, so this way is Article number 15, right? And then later on there were amendment in the Constitution, and then we added Article number 15 clause 4. Actually Article 15 clause 4 was added very initially. That was in the first amendment only, right? So it's almost considered a part of the Constitution only. This is the first constitutional amendment act के through ये आई थी. And in this written 15 clause 4 talks about it says that state can make special provisions for advancement of socially and educationally backward class of citizens, or for the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribe, right? If anyone in India is special, उसके लिए provision कर सकते हैं. किसके लिए? Anyone in India who is socially and educationally backward. There are two conditions. एक तो आप socially backward हैं, सिर्फ social backwardness से बात नहीं चलेगी. There is and in between, तो educational backward. ये दो किस्म की जो backwardness है, अगर ये आपके अंदर होती है और आप scheduled caste हैं, scheduled tribe हैं, या फिर any other backward class of citizens, then in that case state can make special laws. That was 15(4), right? And then what happened? एक दिन क्या हुआ? One day, this fine evening, what happened? This Parliament passed a law, and it announced that with this they forced reservation in the private sector also. So there was a case in Supreme Court is called the Inamdar case. Please remember this name. This is important name, Inamdar case. Don't go into details of this case. Do not ask me even what are the details of case. Unnecessary, unwanted details. Just remember this: the Supreme Court in this case held that there cannot be reservation in the private sector colleges, right? Nothing. And then what happened then? Then Supreme Court came with this 93rd. Parliament came with 93rd Constitutional Amendment Act. Through this provision was laid in the shape of Article 15 clause 5, right? Rather this arrow should be other way. Through this amendment came this Article 15 clause 5, and this was upheld in the in some case, right? It is known as Ashok Thakur case. If you can remember, that will be good. So I won't tell you much cases. Those are for law students. For a student of general studies, just 2-3 things are enough, and these are one of the Inamdar case here and Ashok Thakur. Very important cases to mention in your paper if you want to score good in polity. If you write just other things, that will give you other marks only, no average score only. Okay, so that was about Article 15. It's pretty simple article, nothing much, right? But Article 16, which comes now, is little complex. Now let's see what it is. So Article 16, which deals with equality of opportunity. Now this is also dealing with equality only, but special kind of equality, and that was opportunity, right? And if you remember that a preamble also, that there shall be equality in status and opportunity. Okay, so when there is proper opportunity, there is equal opportunity. That preamble is being justified over here. This opportunity is there, then there is status, obviously. Okay, that brings status. So this opportunity in public employment, right? Public employment, right? Now it says that now again this article is only for citizens, as I told you, 15, 16, 19, 29. Now these articles are only for citizens of India, right? Now it says that there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens, right? And it shall in matters relating to public employment, right, or under the state. So whatever the state government says, and state has been defined under article number 12. We have done that already. Okay, now if you see your bare act, article 16 clause 2, it says that no citizen shall, right, shall be discriminated on these grounds. And what are these? These grounds, I'll just repeat them over here: religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. Okay, these were there in article number 15 also, but now there's one more condition over here, and that is residence. Okay, like wherever you stay in India, government sector cannot say that because you stay in Andaman Nicobar Island, so we will not give you employment, or the government cannot say because you live in Punjab or Jammu Kashmir, we will not give you opportunity in Karnataka. Okay, so that is why actually, but then that is why in our state PCS exams they have this exam of language paper. because they would like to encourage localites for their administrative jobs. And for example, if you going to Punjab, there you have to pass the Punjabi exam, that is the minimum qualification, but anyone in India can write this exam, right? Now why this language has been introduced? Because the discrimination on the basis of language is allowed, right? So it's not on the basis of residence. Anybody can somebody can come from let's say these Andaman Nicobar or Lakshadweep Islands, or let's say even Karnataka, wherever, right, or Manipur. They, if they know Punjabi and they have passed the minimum standard of Punjabi exam, then they are qualified for. That is how the things are circumvented, right? Or let's not say circumvented, that is how states manage, right? States क्या करती हैं, क्योंकि इन बेसिस पे हम नहीं डिस्क्रिमिनेशन कर सकते, तो लैंग्वेज के बेस पे वो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन करने की कोशिश करती हैं, ठीक है? Right, it's not that only sects can give in paper Punjab or only Hindus can write some paper, all the religions can write. That discrimination cannot be done, right? So that is about Article 2, right? Now see, but at the same time the central government, right, the central government can circumscribe this provision of residence. I will talk to you. Basically what I mean to say that that state government can actually discriminate on the basis of residence, right? So what are those qualifications under which not the state government, right, only the parliament, please mind it, right, only the parliament and not the state can discriminate regarding anything, right, in any state or union territory or whatever, right? And they can have a condition of residence also. They can circumvent this residence की condition के residence के basis पर वो discrimination कर सकते हैं कोई अगर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट चाहे, राइट, नॉट द स्टेट, प्लीज माइंड इट. नाउ दिस वाज आर्टिकल 16. तो आर्टिकल 16 और आर्टिकल 15 में कुछ बेसिक डिफरेंसेस हैं. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट दोस डिफरेंसेस आल्सो quickly. It's a very simple difference between two. Number one is that it's about this article 15, right? This is about entire range. This is general. This is a general article. This is specific article related only to employment opportunities. And this then article 15, right? This is restrictive in scope because it is only, right, I'm sorry, this article 15 over here, this is entirety, this is in general, right? It covers all, if not all, it's various aspects of discrimination, various aspects. But whether it's this article 16 over here, this is limited only for the central and the state service, right, services of the government, not just the PCs, right, all the sarkari government services, right? And then there is also mention, right, there is only mention of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth over here, right? As I said earlier, religion, race, caste, all these things. But under 15, as I told you, that there is religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, and then there is one more thing, and that is residence. Okay, actually there are two things over here, and the second thing is descent. It says that there cannot be discrimination on the basis of the descent. Right now there are two things basically. Residence I talked about earlier because there is special provision that under article 16 clause 3 government can discriminate on the basis of residence, but only the central government, the parliament, state cannot do that. Okay, so these are the basic differences between article 15 and 16. There are some common factors, right? Both articles are own, what are the commonalities only for citizen, both of the articles, right? And then in a way, right, now equality of opportunity, right, there is equality, both articles are related to equality only, right? And then there's those principles of equality before law and equal protection of laws. These principles apply here also, right? Equality before law and equal protection of laws, right? Now I've already talked to you about the word only, right? In article 16, 15, 14, everywhere it is mentioned that state no citizen shall on grounds only, right? I've already talked about it. That means if you can anyone can discriminate on the basis of, let's say, religion, but if there is one more special ground to it, that ground cannot be frivolous. What that ground can be, that has to be based on differentia, right? What kind of differentia? Intelligible differentia. I've already talked about these conditions in the earlier lecture. I will not go in detail here. Okay, right now देन आर्टिकल जो 16 है इसके अंदर देर इज वन मोर वर्ड विच कम्स ओवर देयर एंड द वर्ड इज ऑफिस. ओके, लेट मी जस्ट राइट इट हियर. आर्टिकल 15 के अंदर इफ यू 16 के अंदर इफ यू सी दिस वर्ड इज ऑफिस. So this word over here, office, this is mentioned in Article 16 Clause 1 only, which says that there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in matter related to employment, okay, or appointment to any office. Okay, so this office is same as the office of prophet, or we can also say the same office as defined in the office of the prophet, and this is basically a permanent office. Okay, and this is independent of the person who fills it. Now this is a permanent office, and it's not a special office, right? Permanent office. Now I mean when I say special, I mean it exists independently of the person who occupies it. Okay, तो ये होता है ऑफिस. अब आगे चलते हैं, कुछ फालतू की बात है, बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल में जाने की जरूरत नहीं उसकी. ओके, then there is also mention of the words in Article 16 Clause 1 only. There's another word over there which says that the matters related to employment. Okay, now this is again mentioned in article number 16 clause 1 only, where it says that there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in matters related to employment under the state. Okay, or appointment to any office under the state. What do you mean by this matter related to employment, right? This means this is not just about the initial appointment, right? It includes all stages of appointment, right? Everything, right? For example, the salary or the leave or promotion, right? And then there is pension, okay, and gratuity, right? Such things, everything is involved under this word matter related to employment. Okay, now you see even this thing that that there cannot be sexual exploitation, that is also a matter related to employment, and that is Vishakha guideline case. Okay, now if we talk about compassionate appointment, okay, that if there is a person doing job and that person dies, then its son is given that job, that is known as compassionate. अगर किसी फादर की किसी की डेथ हो गई है तो उसके बेटे को वहाँ पे नौकरी मिल जाती है, that kind of that is compassionate appointment over here, which we are talking now. This was held valid, right? Because the rationale is that the person was the only breadwinner, the father was the only breadwinner, okay, of the family. He was the breadwinner of family. Now and after this life would be lurch, life बेकार हो जाएगी, economic position बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगी. So because of this there is this concept of compassionate employment, and this is also covered under matter related to employment only. Okay, now I've already talked to you about the exception to the Article 16 Clause 1, right? And which is about the condition of residence, right? Exception is already, I have done it. So I'll just leave it for now because it's already done, right? Then further about Article 16, there comes a very important question, because Article 16 say also talks about backward class a lot, right? Article 16 has a mention of backward class. I will not go into intricacies further of the Bare Act because it is too complex for the purpose of general studies. Whatever I am teaching, it is only for polity, right? So backward class की अगर बात करते हैं तो a lot has been said about what is a backward class. Okay, so there are various criterion which define backward class. So what are those criterion? These criterion are obviously poverty is a one criteria, but then poverty alone cannot be one criteria. For example, if tomorrow I want to have reservation and reservation is only for poor people, what will I do? I will leave all the money in the world and start living as a poor person, and then I'll have reservation and then I will succeed, right? That will be wrong. So that is why we cannot have only poverty as the basis of reservation, but then even caste, right? But same way, caste alone cannot be the reservation basis. It so happens actually the particular caste, people of particular caste are so backward that almost whole of the caste is backward. That is why we call it caste based reservation. But actually in fact only if caste is made the basis, that cannot be basis of reservation. In India, please notice it, कहीं पर भी लिखा हो, आपको ऐसा कहीं सुना हो, वो बच्चे गलत बोलते हैं जो इंडिया में कहते हैं कि इंडिया में जो रिजर्वेशन होती है वो कास्ट बेस्ड होती है. नो, वी डू नॉट हैव कास्ट बेस्ड रिजर्वेशन इन इंडिया. It just so happens that this was particular caste. Okay, now in this people, there were people, this is the population of the people, right? and in this caste only 2 people were advanced people and rest of the people were backward, right? Now what so happens that in this case it is very difficult to differentiate between these two, people and rest of the population, so whole of the caste is given the reservation. Okay, now that is the kind of positive discrimination, but please understand one thing, that this is again not based on the caste, this was based on the backwardness only, right? Not based on the caste, but actually what happened, the whole of the caste was backward, right? For example, a lot of caste are there in India which are absolutely backward, so for them such things happen. These days there is a trend, right? For example, a lot of Jats are claiming reservation because they are saying we are backward, right? But this is absolutely utter nonsense. How are they backward? Obviously, in every caste you pick up any caste or whatsoever, there are some people who are backward, but that doesn't make whole of the caste backward. And then they are saying we need reservation for Jats, which is again a wrong concept, because in India we do not have caste based reservation, right? They are one of the advanced society, so advanced people. That is absolutely wrong. But yes, there are some people within Jats who are backward. Those people need support, and I have full support for them, right? Not for the advanced Jats, and many of them are advanced. Okay, so that is like one thing, right? So we have poverty based. Supreme Court said same, right? This is not my words when I say that it is not fine. It's the Supreme Court saying that. Anyway, poverty is there, caste is there, then occupation. Okay, now this occupation के basis पर भी हो सकता है. For example, the caste of certain people are forced to do only one kind of work, and that is picking the excreta of others or picking the carcasses of others, right? मरे हुए जानवर उठाते, गंदे काम उनसे सारे उन्हीं से करवाए जाते हैं, जबरदस्ती करवाए जाते हैं. तो that is again wrong, right? And उनको कोई भी gear नहीं दिया जाता. That is wrong, right? On the basis of habitation, right? For example, right, if you are living in New Delhi, you cannot say that I live in New Delhi on the basis of habitation I should be given reservation. But for example, somebody living in Arunachal Pradesh, okay, or somebody living in a very very remote area of let's say any other state, for example of let's say Mizoram, right? It's a beautiful state, right? Such a good food there. Anyway, so Arunachal Pradesh, all these very backward areas are there. For example, then them reservation can be there, right? Or some backwardness can be determined. So and because there is backwardness, and then we determine the reservation. Okay. Now, but one thing is very very clear, right? I'm telling you in very clear cut words. If you say that Jat should be given reservation, or you say that all the Brahmins should be given reservation, or all the Kumihars, or all the whatever, right, Mathurs or whatever, you say caste based reservation. A caste based reservation is absolutely illegal in India, and it cannot be the sole determinant of backwardness, right? But at the same time, I must tell you that it is not an irrelevant factor. But in seclusion it becomes a relevant test, and this can be taken into account. Caste based reservation can be taken into account, but if there are other factors existing which prove the backwardness of a caste, then we can take into consideration this caste factor, right? Now this basically this doctrine of positive discrimination that I'm talking to you for upliftment of people, right? To understand this, you must have listened to earlier lectures of polity, and now I'm not going to explain this, right? Please go stop here and listen to the earlier lectures if you have not, right? Now this positive discrimination, which is there under Article 15 Clause 4, which says that state can do make provisions for advancement of socially and educationally backward classes, or SC or ST, right? For them state can do something. Now in the same way, Article 16 Clause 4, this says that a state can make a provision for reservation, or clearly say there can be provision of reservation for any backward class of citizen, right? Any backward class of citizen which in the opinion of the state are not adequately represented. Okay, now but then one thing is for sure, when this kind of reservation positive discrimination is done, then there comes also play into force Article 335. जो आर्टिकल 335 है वो उसको मद्देनजर रखते हुए ही आपको रिजर्वेशन मिल सकती है, ठीक है. नाउ व्हाट इज दिस थिंग, आर्टिकल 335, इट सेज दैट व्हेनेवर देयर इज अ क्लेम ऑफ एन SC or ST, right? This is a claim of SC and ST to services or some post, right? Then we must take into consideration the maintenance of efficiency of administration, because even recently it was held by the Supreme Court. These are not my words. The Supreme Court saying it, that in the very concept of reservation there is a hidden concept of mediocrity, right? कि जब भी reservation से चुनकर लोग आएंगे वहां पर वो मीडियोकर ही होंगे. They cannot be par excellence, right? This is obvious, right? Because you are coming from मैंने जैसे आपको पहले बताया था, आप एक पीछे हुई चीज से आ रहे हो, आप you are coming ahead because of the support of the government. Caste based, this reservation is more like crutches, एक सहारा है. This doesn't make you enlightened. What is really required for our backward classes in India is that we should open more schools, we should make more inclusive society. Only then this mediocrity problem which is in the reservation, that will over. Then in fact we will not need reservation at all at that juncture if we give them proper facilities which are being denied to them anyway, right? So now if I'm all this was and further there was one more thing to which everyone agrees, that where the nature of the job is technical, for example air force, right? If you are flying, or let's say some technical job, very technical, for example construction of a bridge, right? Now there should be there should not be reservation over there, because when there is mediocrity you cannot risk the lives of the people, right? In defense forces, that is why you do not have reservation, because ultimately you are safeguarding the nation, right? Now there is one more thing about Article 16 clause 4 only, about which I am talking, that state can make a reservation for any backward class if it feels it is not adequately represented. तो 16(4) के अंदर क्या है, कुछ conditions आती हैं reservation के लिए, ठीक है, employment के अंदर obviously, and it says that अगर state को लगता हो कि those particular caste are not adequately represented in the services of the state. Okay, now ऐसी चीजें right, so who are not adequately represented, they can be given reservation, and state has to demonstrate this backwardness, right? Now Article 16 clause जो 4 है, it talks about that state it is for any backward class of citizen, as I said earlier also. The state can make provision for reservation in matter of promotion also. That is important. Now it is not just for appointment, promotion के अंदर भी reservation हो सकती है, right? And then there is Article 16 clause 4b, which talks about carrying forward of the backlog reservation, right? For example, in year 2013 there were 30 seats for backward class. Out of these only 15 were filled. Now 2014 के अंदर there were total of 30 seats. Now Supreme Court, the rule is that apart from these 30 seats there would be extra 15 seats carrying from the earlier reservation for the backward classes. Okay, that is the rule, right? Now but then there is a condition for it, right? That that particular state, that particular class is backward. That has to be noticed. That particular group of people, they are backward. First thing, this has to be there, and second thing is they are backward, right? Backward. And number 2 is that in opinion of the state, and this opinion has to be justifiable opinion, justified opinion of the state, such a class is a backward class. Okay, they are backward class. So that is the point over here. Okay, now but then as I said earlier, Article 335 also has to be taken into consideration, right? Now the question of the reservation for OBCs came in the case of Mandal Commission case, which is also known as Indira Sani case. We'll talk about that case in detail now. Mandal Commission case. Now this is very important for your paper, and you can expect this question to appear in your prelim and mains examination at any time, right? So Mandal Commission case, we'll talk about that. This is about the reservation for them. This Mandal Commission was the second backward class Mandal Commission, and it was appointed on 20th December 1978 by Morarji Desai government, and this was basically Janata Party government. And then they brought about the BP Mandal, and this then this was the chairman. He's an ex MP, right? And then he was given the mandate of knowing that what are the social and educational backward classes of India, what can be done for their advancement, is there a desirability of giving them reservation, and the report was given to the president, and the president was given this report on 31st December. This report was prepared on 31st December 1980, right, and that the same day, and that time this was president, and that time president was Mr. Reddy, yeah. So president was Mr. Reddy at that time, and it recommended the ways to advance. Right now, it basically worked on 11 criterion to determine the social, educational, economic backwardness, and and one of the criteria even included that do we in general regard a particular class as a backward class, right, or a caste even, right, and there were many other indicators. For example, are they involved in manual labor? These are few of the indicators, right? In total, there were 11 indicators to determine whether a class is a backward or a caste is a backward or not, right? Not only in Hindus, they also get the backward classes in all religion, whether the Muslims, the Sikhs, the Christians, or right, the Buddhists. So these minorities they were given, right? Now, even if they belong to untouchable caste, right, and they converted to some non-Hindu religion, even then they were considered for the purpose of reservation, right? And even if anybody was having occupational name, for example, anyone says that that Nai was there, or Dhobi was there, or Teli was there, right? So that kind of reservation, okay. So this Mandal Commission basically took into consideration all these things, right? Now, according to the Mandal Commission, right, and then after it gathered, right, it interviewed a lot of people, right, and there was interview data also from almost all the districts, right, and then field survey data was there, and then personal knowledge of the commission members was there, right. So there were surveys, right, and then there was data collection and personal knowledge of the members of the commission, even that was used, okay. And with this they also came up with the list of the other backward classes list, and which had approximately 3743 caste in it, and there were more underprivileged or depressed backward classes, which were extremely backward. There were 2108 extremely backward classes in the list, okay. And then it was in, I remember this thing I read somewhere, that on 7th of August 1990, Prime Minister VP Singh he announced in Parliament that they are going to implement the Mandal Commission report. But mind it, a lot of data used by Mandal Commission was from the 1931 census. Now imagine, one of the basis of this data was 1931 census, and then with some personal knowledge also, then some data which was actually not adequate enough, and on the basis of that, and then this was finally implemented in 1990. That it was formally announced in 1990. Is it justified? See, it is not good for either the general category. It is obviously at their loss, that is their actually kind of contribution to the nation, for the growth of the nation, when they support reservation, even that is their contribution. Number two, is it good for the backward classes? Because a lot of people who are not backward, they are taking the benefits of reservation, whereas lot of people, some of you might be listening to this video also, आप में से बहुत लोग मेरी वीडियो सुन रहे होंगे जो बैकवर्ड असली में हैं, लेकिन आपको तो फायदा नहीं मिलता बैकवर्ड होने का जो आपको मिलना चाहिए रिजर्वेशन का। मेरा मतलब है बैकवर्ड होने का क्या फायदा, कुछ भी नहीं। रिजर्वेशन का जो फायदा है आपको कहाँ मिल रहा है, कोई और ले जाते हैं वो फायदे, जो पढ़े लिखे अमीर लोग हैं वो लेके जा रहे हैं। समथिंग हैड टू बी डन, राइट। सो व्हेन मंडल कमीशन अनाउंस्ड एंड वीपी सिंह इंप्लीमेंटेड दिस, देयर वाज अ ह्यूज ह्यू एंड क्राई, समबडी बर्न्ड हिमसेल्फ, मतलब दिल्ली में बहुत वायलेंस हुई हर तरफ, lot of opposition, but in spite of that all the governments went ahead with this. And then it was in the case of Indira Sahni case, then there was this case known as Indira Sahni case, and this was in 1992 that this landmark judgment decided the fate of the reservation in India for so many years to come, right? It is still used. It says that that 27% quota for OBCs, okay, 27% quota for OBCs, and the government notification reserving 10% for economically basically economically backward sections, because this Mandal Commission also gave reservation on the basis of the economy. So economy based reservation, right, that was given, economy based reservation. These two things were challenged, right. It was in this case, right, among the high, and you know, for among the higher, it was this was related to government jobs, okay. And because even if you are from higher caste, you are being given reservation on the basis of economy. How can you, if you are poor, then how can you given the reservation, right? And then this was challenged in the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court upheld this first thing, and Supreme Court said this economy based reservation is wrong. Lot of people who are not IS aspirants like you or some other competitive exam, lot of people of general the common people, or some, and some of the IS aspirants also, actually they say that the reservation should be basis on the economy. Now this is a purely emotional response, because see, it's very simple. Today I don't have reservation. For example, let's just say, for sake of it, let's say Mr. X, right, he does not have doesn't have that reservation, right now, but he's a very rich man. What, he's from higher upper category and general category, okay. Now what he does is he gives up everything, and this man becomes poor. Now, if the reservation is for the poor, it is an incentive for the people of the country to become poor. And I don't mind being poor for 2 years to get the reservation and then be an IS, and then that will be misuse of the reservation. And the people who are backward people, they deserve reservation, not me. Then I will, what will poverty do? And how can you promote poverty in India? You cannot do that. One of the reasons I'm giving you is this, right? And Supreme Court also, it annulled that this reservation cannot be given on a basis of economy. It's a very, very flawed argument that poor people should be given reservation in India, okay. That is like one thing, and there are many other logics also. Let's not go into that. That is for the purpose of law students only. For the purpose of polity, this is enough, right? Second thing, Supreme Court also said in Indira Sani case that so this is like one thing, that 27% is valid, right? Number two, that Supreme Court said that reservation cannot exceed 50% in general, but in exceptional circumstances, wherever need be, reservation can exceed 50%, okay. Now this reservation, so in some states went as high as 82%, okay. I will not name the state over here, but then it did happen over there. So that was the tragedy of the reservation, because 18% seats were there for general category, right? And see, it becomes a problem, right? And then Supreme Court also, because this rule was basically relaxed of 50% reservation for people of far-flung areas, because there, the conditions are very, very poor, right? Extreme condition over there. But then even in these extreme conditions, there is extreme condition, right? Some geographical condition, there has to be extreme caution in doing so. Now this has not taken really place in Indian polity. Now see, it doesn't include those members of socially and economic educationally backward classes who get selected on their own merit, right? So if any person from reservation gets selected on the basis of the merit, then he should be considered under the general category, because the concept of reservation is for the people who are backward, right? Even though this person was backward, but then they have got uplifted. It's a presumption that if they are uplifted, only then they were able to study, right? Because if you are forced to work day and night, and then you are not you are forced to do you are not sold even books by so many people, right? Trust me, there is even today to this extent lot of backwardness in the country, but at the same time I must tell you that the benefits of reservation are not being given to them. Reservation is just being used by some people. Reservation as a concept in itself is not bad. It is for the upliftment, it is for equality. I really support reservation, but the way it is being misused by the politician is really bad. It is being misused, which is absolutely wrong. The people who deserve reservation, they are not getting the reservation. Those people who do not deserve reservation, they are getting it. Just because you are from backward class, you are getting the reservation, whereas you are driving Audi, you are driving big cars, right? You live in a bungalow, you are a rich person, right? And then you are socially uplifted also. You're also treated equally by your friends. See, I have lot of friends. We even hug, right? They are very close friends, okay. but they're rich people also, right? They are, even then they are not leaving these reservations for their personal benefit. See, it's a matter of utter shame that such people exist in society. Okay, because this should be only for the people who deserve it. And it's my humble request, right? If you have a reservation with you and you feel that actually you do not deserve this reservation, right, even if you're from backward class, please apply in general. Not for the sake of general category, right? I'm not asking you. It is for the people of the backward class. It is their upliftment that I'm more concerned with here. Because if you take their reservation and you are already uplifted, even though you are from backward class, they will never get uplifted. अरे जो पिछड़ा हुआ वर्ग है, आप उनकी सीट खा जाएंगे. आप भी अगर पिछड़े हुए वर्ग से हैं, लेकिन आप अब पिछड़े नहीं रहे, अब तो आप आगे बढ़ गए हैं, तो कम से कम अब तो अब रिजर्वेशन छोड़ दो भाई मेरे. This is my humble appeal. This is not anything against any kind of reservation policy, or this is with due respect to all the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and OBCs, right? So that is the point. Okay, now what more was said in the Mandal Commission case? It was said that this for this rule of 50%, a year is to be taken. एक साल का एक unit माना जाएगा, ठीक है? And it also said that it's a case of nobody said that it's a case of proportional representation. It is they have to be given adequate representation under Article 16. The words used in Article 16 clause 4 are that they are not adequately represented, and the words used are not that they are not proportionally represented, which in the opinion of the state are not adequately represented. So that means reservation can cross 50%. Okay. And then backwardness के बारे में इंदिरा सानी के अंदर कहा गया था कि if there is so this is like number 1 point, and this is number 2 and number 3 and number 4 regarding backwardness. Okay, let's talk about it. If a caste is backward, it's proven that the whole of the caste is backward, then that is actually not a reservation for the caste, that's the reservation for the class. But then the point is that the whole of the caste is backward, so we call it as a caste based reservation, but in truth it is a class based reservation only. अगर पूरी की पूरी कास्ट ही बैकवर्ड होगी, पिछड़ी हो गई, तो हम उसको रिजर्वेशन देंगे ना भाई, फिर उनको आगे भी तो लेकर आना है, हमारी जिम्मेदारी भी तो है, तो उनको. लेकिन that doesn't make it caste reservation, that makes it only class reservation. is difference को I hope आप समझ गए हैं. Okay, right. And then क्रीमी लेयर, फॉर एग्जाम्पल द कंसेप्ट ओवर हियर जो मैं आपसे बात कर रहा था, वो थी क्रीमी लेयर की बात थी यहाँ पे. एंड दैट वाज ओके, लेट मी जस्ट चेंज द कलर फॉर द सेक ऑफ विजिबिलिटी हियर. नाउ क्रीमी लेयर, इफ यू आर फ्रॉम क्रीमी लेयर, right, then you need not have reservation. You are a backward class, but what happened, you get selected in IAS ka paper. So many people, Meena families are there in Rajasthan. So many of them are now IAS officers, IPS officers. I know them personally. Some of them are my friends also, right? With due respect to your caste, sir, I'm not pinpointing you out. Lot of people are you are into all India services now, right? You are the forward class, you are equally respected, you have the money also. For the sake of other backward people, देखिए मैं जनरल कैटेगरी की बात ही नहीं यहाँ पर कर रहा. आपने एक बारी रिजर्वेशन का फायदा उठा लिया, यू बिकम अ क्रीमी लेयर, आप आईएएस बन के और क्या चाहिए भाई, यू आर वंस यू आर एन आईएएस, व्हाट एल्स यू वांट. So all India service में घुस गए, then you are a creamy layer, right? Or let's say you have certain amount of money, or let's say some other criterion, right? So you become a creamy layer. Now you are an IAS officer, but your son also gets a reservation. Think over it. Do you really need to apply for reservation? See, the concept of creamy layer doesn't apply to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Please mind it, this concept is only for the OBC, right? Now Meenas, right, I took the case of Meena. A lot of Meenas are they are scheduled caste also, right, and some of them are other in OBC. So this is the creamy layer concept for OBCs. I'm talking to OBCs here, I'm not talking to the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe in my earlier comment when I say that you should think of giving up reservation, right? In my just humble opinion, I would request you, right, and this is like with due respect to all the caste, again and again I'm saying that, right? Now also it was clearly laid out in the case of Indira Sani that there cannot be reservation there cannot be reservation, okay, there cannot be reservation in army. Simple as that. In all the defense forces there cannot be reservation, right? Number two, in all the technical posts which require R&D, and recently there was also a demand by some backward class organization that there should be research in R&D. I leave it to your good self opinion that क्या R&D के अंदर research and development के अंदर reservation होनी चाहिए कि नहीं, right? For the teaching post of the professor, the level of professor and above, there should not be reservation, only merit should be counted. This was what was being said, right? See, ultimately the point is that the जो backward classes in India, they are backward because of the historical injustice done to them. ठीक है, historical injustice बहुत बुरा हुआ उनके साथ, that is undeniable, and some of those people really need to be given reservation, and I have my full sympathies, my heart with you. But at the same time there are a lot of people among from the backward class who are exploiting them. See, one of the largest exploiter of the backward class is the backward class itself. Backward class को इस टाइम पे जितना exploitation backward class कर रही है और कोई नहीं कर रहा है, मेरे मुताबिक तो यही है, at least because वो कैसे कर रहे हैं, because they are eating away the reservation which they do not deserve, which should be given to the real backward class, real, right? And some of are the fake backward class now, if I may call so, right? Technically, legally you are backward class, but in actually you are uplifted person of the society, you are a creamy layer over here, and then you are taking reservation benefits. Okay, so this is about the OBCs, right? The SC ST के ऊपर है reservation, creamy layer का concept doesn't apply. Okay, now in case of the super speciality, reservation cannot be given, right? For example, in medical super speciality, those DM की degree है, all those degree, right? And the post of the pilots, right? Even they cannot be reserved for anyone, right? So such things were said over there, right? Now Supreme Court observed, right, that relevance and significance of merit at the stage of initial recruitment obviously cannot be ignored, right? Initial stage के ऊपर भी merit और को हमें देखना ही पड़ेगा, लेकिन at the same time this is basically, it is a prize by others, right? Everyone who is not having reservation, prized by others to fulfill the constitutional promise of social justice, right? There is a person, I would not name him, he is already an IRS officer, right? I know him through somebody, right? I have never met him, I just have heard of his name so many times through somebody. This person is from backward class, okay, but he applied only in general category, right? At present he is an IRS officer already, right? Such a man, right? Hats off to him. This person from backward class, he applied in general category because he felt, ऐसा उन्होंने क्यों किया? क्योंकि he felt that he is already uplifted person of the society. He does not need reservation to move ahead, and he applied in general category, got selected in this IRS ka services. That is brilliant job he has done. Okay. Now, see, a lot of people like that, I'll just seek his permission to put his name and I'll add that name as an annotation. But, that is the case, right? And then, it was also said in Indira Sani, where another very important point was that a reservation in public employment could only exist at entry level, right? Now, it could only at entry level. Now, this obviously was overruled later on, and the reservation in promotion was also given later on, okay, but Indira Sani said only at the entry level reservation could be given, okay. So there was a lot of cases, there's plethora of material regarding the cases. I will not go into any of those details. I will just talk about those superficial details, right? Then there was 81st amendment later on. 81st amendment was brought on, and which said that which inserted article 16 clause 4b, right? Basically the rule was that the 50% reservation should be there, and whatever seats are left, they cannot be carried forward, okay? Or if they are carried forward, even then the reservation cannot cross 50%. reservation 50% से ज़्यादा नहीं हो रही, अगर पिछले साल की सीटें खाली सीटों को अगले साल भी ऐड कर लिया जाए, तो इस रूल को टू सर्कमवेंट इस रूल को ओवर पार या इस रूल को खत्म करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट 16 क्लॉज 4b की अमेंडमेंट लेकर आई थी बाय 81st अमेंडमेंट, ओके. नाउ फिर क्या हुआ, बहुत सारी अमेंडमेंट्स आई उस टाइम पे. फॉर एग्जांपल 82, दैट वाज लाइक, आई जस्ट राइट ऑन द न्यू पेज. सो देयर वेरियस अमेंडमेंट्स वर इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बिकॉज ऑफ द रिस्ट्रिक्शंस ब्रॉट बाय द इंदिरा सानी केस एंड वेरियस अदर केसेस. And then there was 81st amendment, I just explained to you. Then there was 82nd amendment which relaxed article 335, I have already talked about it. Then there was 85th amendment, right? And this amendment said that it wanted to nullify that it introduced consequential seniority also in the concept of reservation in promotion, the consequential seniority. अब प्लीज ये मत पूछने बैठ जाना क्या होता है. इट्स अ वेरी वेरी सेल्फ स्पीकिंग वर्ड. इवन इफ यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड, प्लीज इग्नोर इट. जस्ट रिमेंबर दैट देयर वर मेनी अमेंडमेंट्स टू द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एंड ऑल दीज अमेंडमेंट्स वर टुगेदर चैलेंज्ड इन अ केस कॉल्ड नागराज केस. नाउ दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट केस बिकॉज दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट एक्चुअली बिकॉज देयर वर सो मेनी अमेंडमेंट्स चैलेंज्ड, बेसिकली 81, 82, 85, right? Now it held that all these amendments are valid. This is important. Don't mix it up. It said, but they are valid only to the extent it does not alter the basic structure of the constitution. That cannot be altered. Okay. Now further it was said that overall three things have to be kept in mind while giving reservation in employment opportunities, that there was backwardness, right? मेरा सारा मुद्दा, मेरी सारी objection to the concept of reservation is related to backwardness. How to define backwardness? That is the point, and the misuse of this word backwardness, right? There are people backward in India, you cannot deny that. I just cannot deny that. मैंने खुद देखे, I have worked for the upliftment of backward classes in my state, right? Anyway, right, then there is inadequacy of representation. Inadequacy of representation. The word is inadequate, right? So in the opinion of the state. And third thing, there has to be maintenance of efficiency, which is the article 335. So these are the things which overall is the gist of the whole of the concept of reservation, right? And then finally, after this case, so I've just given you two cases in the concept, but there are thousands of cases which I know. First is Indira Sani case, and then you have this case of Nagaraj, right? This is an important case which upheld all the reservations, all the amendment. And then there is a very recent case of Ames, right? In this case, what was there, that it said that reservation was inapplicable to specialty and super specialty faculty post. There were teachers की नौकरियां लगनी थी जी for speciality and super speciality. Okay, and this case was fought in Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said that there cannot be reservation in this in Ames, right? And they said that we reconfirm what was said in Indira Sahni case, that the reservation cannot be on the basis of in case of speciality and super speciality. Please mind it that this comment actually in Indira Sahni, this comment of speciality and super speciality, it was not the part of the main judgment, right? It was just what is called as obiter dicta. Okay, this is the word, if you use in your law, in your polity paper, that will be wonderful, is known as obiter dicta. Obiter dicta का मतलब क्या था होता है, मतलब it is an opinion voiced by a judge, right, on a point. It is not the it has no bearing on the case as such. Okay, no bearing on the case, it's an observation actually. No bearing on case. It's a word of common usage. It is not the word which lawyers use. Of course, lawyers also use, but normal media में I have heard Barkha Dutt using this word on NDTV so many times. And the जो main part होता है judgment का, उसे कहते हैं ratio. Okay, it's a ratio word is used for that, right? Ratio decidendi. Anyway, right now. The court in this case, Ames versus Union of India, right? Ames versus Union of India was the case. In this case, it was clearly laid down that the very concept, it was said that by judge, concept of reservation implies mediocrity. Obviously, that is true. But then at the same time, it is being misused, as I'm saying again and again. The concept in itself is not bad. Okay, so it said that that Article 335 basically cannot be ignored. Efficiency has to be maintained. This was said in this case of reservation, right? So I hope you got some clarity on the concept of reservation in India, right? Now, in my humble, request and opinion, like, if anybody is feeling offended by any of my words against or in favor of reservation, please, it was not my intent to do so, right? Neither it was just a mistake. I feel apologetic for that already. If you feel some error was committed, and if you feel that it was good, like then I'm thankful to you, that I hope you were able to understand, right? I have my full sympathies for all the SC, ST and OBCs, because after all they are all those citizens of India, right? And for us, for me at least, what matters is this nation matters. All this video making process is just for the nation, right? This is nothing. My nation should grow, that is all I want, right? But then these people who do not deserve reservation and who are taking reservation and who are depriving backward class of the benefits of reservation, जो ये लोग reservation deserve नहीं करते और हमारी जो इतनी सारी backward classes बैठी हैं उनकी भी reservation खा जाते हैं, I am against them. I am openly against them. They are wrong, they are doing wrong, even if they are backward, but then they are backward, but then they have been uplifted, they are creamy layers, right? That is my whole problem, right? So that was all about today's lecture, and now just wanted to make two very important announcements. And the first thing is that I just wanted to thank you all whosoever you have shared my videos on various social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, everywhere. Thank you so much from my heart, and it is my humble request that you please keep on sharing this video in future also. जिन्होंने आज तक नहीं share की, if you really like the video, it's my humble request, please share it with others. That gives me encouragement to make better videos and ज़्यादा वीडियोज़, एंड आई कैन कवर ज़्यादा सब्जेक्ट अगर आप इस वीडियो को शेयर करते हैं. एंड सेकेंड थिंग इज़ that this is for your own benefit. If you really like these videos and you want that updates about the new videos should come into your mailbox, you can subscribe to us. You can see the subscribe button over here. You can click on us and videos will come right into your email box. आप हमें सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हैं. अगर ऐसा करते हैं तो वीडियोस डायरेक्टली आपके मेल बॉक्स में आ जाएंगी. बस इतना ही कहना है. That is all, and thank you for watching the videos.